$150 to $200 million has been put back into our community.
Being a city girl, I was very skeptical. I didn't understand cooperatives. They do work. They can work. It has.
Situated 100 kilometres north of Brisbane, on the Sunshine Coast hinterland, Maleny has stunning views of the Glasshouse Mountains and is surrounded by lush tropical vegetation overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It has a population of a few thousand people. Maleny has a long history of cooperative enterprise. In 1903, settlers started the first dairy cooperative in the region, the Maleny Cooperative Dairy Association. During its lifetime, it built 3 butter factories. In the 1940s, the community got together to build the Maleny Under 5s kindergarten in just one weekend. Today, Maleny has more than 20 cooperatives which work in all areas of community life. These include a consumers co-op, a bank, a club, a workers co-op, a cashless trading co-op, a radio station, a film society, 4 environmental groups and several community settlement cooperatives. All but 3 of these are legally incorporated. Cooperatives are formed when a group of like-minded individuals join together to accomplish something that each acting alone would never be able to achieve. Successful co-ops are always born out of need. They cannot be imposed on a community. They have to grow from the energy and commitment of the local people themselves.
Another prime ingredient to make a cooperative a success would be the right product. If you've got a product that nobody wants or the community doesn't want, then you're not going to be successful. In the case of the Upfront Club, there was a need for a venue where people could, a licensed venue where people could eat and drink, meet their friends without it being the pub. And that was the only other alternative at the time. So the core group of people decided to get together and form their own, start their own club, and that's how this cooperative started.
Co-ops are different from traditional private and public sector enterprises. They represent a third way that integrates economic and social objectives. Unlike the private sector, which tends to concentrate wealth and power in the hands of a few, co-ops spread wealth and power to each member equally. Unlike government, which tends to be remote and unresponsive to the communities it is supposed to serve, co-ops are driven by their members and reflect their needs. Cooperatives have a tremendous competitive advantage over both private enterprise and public enterprises. The members have a personal interest in their co-op's success. The members own the co-op, so they're more likely to buy their goods or use its services. Shares in cooperatives are not publicly traded because the shares are owned by the members. The members themselves decide how to spend the profits.
You're a director of a shareholder company, then your whole ethos is directed at the shareholders. You've got to provide the bottom line for them, even to the extent where it might damage the company or damage the people who work for the company in terms of shutting down branches or whatever. But if you're involved in a cooperative, the whole thing swings the other way, and in fact you're there to help your members. Shareholder companies are there for the financial bottom line, whereas cooperatives are there for the community bottom line.
Maple Street Cooperative opened its doors on January the 14th, 1980, nearly a year after a small group of people met to discuss how to satisfy their needs for whole foods. The co-op started by selling both whole foods and produce grown by local farmers. Today, the co-op operates an organic health food retail outlet in the main street. The co-op's policy is organic first, then local, then Australian. It does not stock any products that contain genetically modified material, nor does it stock products from companies that are regarded as exploiting people or the environment. It operates on the principle of consensus decision-making. It is structured as a non-profit enterprise, meaning that the profits go back into the co-op to expand its services and develop its infrastructure, or into community activities. The co-op publishes a 16-page bi-monthly newsletter that outlines current activities and brings information to members on subjects that are of special interest, such as the irradiation of food or genetic engineering and microwave emissions. It's registered as a trading co-op. Active members are required to pay an annual membership fee of $11 and to spend at least $20 per year to retain their active status. Members get a 5% discount off all purchases. On occasions in the past, it had no business plan, operated at a loss, made poor investment decisions, lacked experienced financial management, and had to spend a lot of time resolving differences of opinion among the members. Learning from experience, the co-op gradually evolved a formula for success. It now has a sound strategic and financial plan, regularly makes a profit, cultivates the support of both the members and the community at large, and ensures that the staff and the management are honest, dedicated and competent.
Here we are today with what I would consider to be a very viable cooperative with 900 active members, giving discounts to those members. We effectively own all the land here that we're on at the moment, down to the back of the main streets in Maleny, and we can only look forward to a very interesting future.
Maleny Credit Union began in 1984 when several local people had the idea of setting up an ethical financial institution which would foster regional financial autonomy. Initially, the credit union was staffed by volunteers, worked from rented rooms, and entered deposits manually into a journal. On the first day of operation, local people deposited more than $50,000.
Currently the credit union's assets are over $50 million, and typically in any one year we lend $10 to $15 million, so that each year that's the amount of money that's been revolved around. The credit union's been going for over 20 years now, so we estimate that something like $150 to $200 million has been put back into our community. We have about 4,000 members. Some of them are from around the country, but about 2/3 are in the local community.
The credit union offers savings, cheque, loans and term deposit accounts, as well as credit card facilities, and can arrange superannuation and various types of insurance for members. In addition, it contributes substantially to the local community and leads its development. Over the years, the credit union has given out many small loans to local people who would not be eligible from major banks. This has helped many people buy land, build their own home and start their own businesses. In dollar terms, 80% of the credit union's loans are for housing.
Credit unions have got a really important role in strengthening local communities. What they do is give local people control over their finances. They keep money in the community, keep money circulating around, invest in local businesses so that there'll be jobs for people into the future. Credit unions and banks provide the same sort of services, but they're fundamentally different because banks exist to provide profit for shareholders, whereas credit unions are owned by their members and their purpose is to provide financial services for members, not to generate profit.
The credit union's ethical activities include allocating 10% of its profits to its community grants scheme, establishing a tax-deductible charitable fund, paying an eco-tax to Barung Landcare based on every ream of paper used, offering low fees to members and special arrangements to cooperatives and community groups, lending only to local people and projects to keep money circulating within the region, purchasing locally wherever possible, providing loans for environmentally and socially beneficial projects, creating a democratic workplace and conducting an annual social, environmental and financial audit of the co-op's operations and accounting in the annual report.
One of the unique features about Maleny Credit Union is in the last 5 to 7 years we've been doing environmental and social auditing. This is all about reporting to members on social and environmental outcomes. We were one of the first credit unions, or the first credit union to do this in Australia, and now quite a few credit unions are following our lead. The credit union industry even has a toolkit now where member credit unions can actually do this kind of reporting. In recent years, some of our new products, we have an e-saver account which runs over the internet. That's been very attractive for people all around Australia who can easily access this over the internet to put funds with us. We've guaranteed that all the money raised by this eSaver electronic product is invested in environmentally sound lending, ethical investment.
During the course of the last year, grants from the credit union's community grant scheme went to the Maleny Swimming Club, the River School, the Altair Youth Crisis Centre, Maleny High School, Sunshine Coast Environment Council, Maleny Community Centre, the Barubin School, and the Rural Fire Brigade. The credit union had provided finance for over 180 new jobs in 78 new businesses.
Each year the credit union allocates at least 10% of their profits to their community trust. Members of community groups and organisations can apply for grants under this trust grant program, and in the last year we allocated nearly $26,000 to community groups via this grant process.
Until recently an equal pay system was in place, but we are now developing a pay structure more relevant to a person's skills and experience. A firm policy though that the credit union abides by is that the difference in pay between the highest and lowest paid members will be no greater than 3 times.
Like the Maple Street Co-op, in its early years the credit union went through periods of difficulty. However, improved planning and financial management overcame these problems. Today the credit union is extremely successful, principally because it developed the right balance of financial expertise and cooperative spirit.
It's very difficult to start a new credit union, much more difficult than when Maleny Credit Union was established, but it is possible. The easiest way is probably to establish as a division of a larger credit union. So if a community approaches a larger credit union with a financially viable proposal to set up in their region, that credit union could be established within a larger credit union until it grew and became viable in its own right, and then it could be separated to operate as a distinct credit union for that area.
Late in 1993, a diverse group of Maleny residents got together to form a cooperative club. The aim was to establish a licensed venue to eat, drink, relax and socialise. Today it's a place where the food is wholesome and inexpensive, the coffee is great, and local musicians and entertainers can gain exposure.
It's extraordinarily important to have a venue that you can showcase people, up and coming talent in a town, and there are so many talented people around this area.
When the club first started, instead of relying on voluntary labour, it took on the financial challenge of paying wages to all its workers. But because it was undercapitalised, it was forced to take out a loan to pay for the lease. Although it had over 1,000 members, each year it continued to sustain a loss. Eventually, in 2000, 3 directors took over the voluntary management of the club, enabling it to remain in existence. Then, on the 15th of January, the club turned a corner. Over 100 members attended a special general meeting, talked of what the club meant to them, and committed to regular voluntary work so that it could stay open. Since then, members and visitors alike have commented on the changed atmosphere. The financial position has improved markedly, and for the first time, the club has posted an operating profit. Thanks to the support of the members, the club continues to provide services. It's open 6 days a week, providing healthy meals at reasonable prices. The club also publishes a quarterly newsletter. A share in the co-op costs $10, and shareholders pay an annual membership fee of $30 per person or $45 per family. Members get a 10% discount. They're encouraged to volunteer their time and support club activities. Over the years, the club has showcased a wide range of local talent, hosting everything from classical evenings to CD nights for teenagers. For many, it is the cultural centre of the Maleny community.
People have said things like, "This is like my family. This place is just like my other family." Or, "This is the rich social tapestry of Maleny."
Lead is one of the most recent co-ops established in Maleny. It's registered as a workers' cooperative and is dedicated to creating new businesses and jobs on the Sunshine Coast hinterland. It employs 6 people. LEAD recognises that most investment, jobs and economic development in the Sunshine Coast region occurs on the coastal strip. It believes that it's vital for the hinterland to develop its own jobs by creating viable small-scale businesses. The seeds of LEAD were sown in early 1997 after a local economic development forum. A group of locals came together to help people on the hinterland start their own businesses. The group organised forums on topics such as product development, marketing, financial management and other business skills. In July 1999, LEAD and the Maleny Credit Union entered into a partnership to develop a peer support lending scheme. Under the scheme, the credit union provides small, unsecured loans for start-up businesses, and LEAD members mentor the new business people for the first 12 months of their operation. The scheme is supported by a grant from the Department of Family and Community Services. In the first year, 14 new small-scale businesses participated in the scheme, with 12 continuing to operate successfully after 12 months. As a result of this initial success, 13 new loans were given out in the second year of operation. So far, the scheme has provided a total of 27 loans to new small businesses. 23 of them are continuing to operate successfully. Maleny has one of Australia's most successful LETS schemes. LETS began in Canada in 1982 and was launched in Maleny in October 1987. There are now over 200 LETS schemes in Australia. LETS functions as a cashless trading co-op. LETS members trade their skills and provide services to each other without the use of money. In Maleny, members trade their products and services in the local currency, the bunya, named after the region's native pine nut, allowing people with little or no cash to participate in the town's economy. Environmental co-ops include Barang Landcare, Barubin Bush Magic and the Green Hills Fund. Barang Landcare is one of several hundred community-based landcare groups throughout Australia. It is dedicated to empowering landholders in the local area to take ownership of environmental problems and their solutions. It provides a range of environmental services, publishes a bi-monthly newsletter, and participates in the LETS scheme by accepting bunyas as part payment for the trees it sells. It hosts the annual From Chainsaw to Fine Furniture Wood Expo, which promotes the sustainable harvesting of native timber. It also runs a successful nursery, which propagates local native plant species that have not been genetically modified. Barubin Bush Magic runs a rainforest nursery, while the Green Hills Fund works to maintain the character of the Maleny landscape. The settlement co-ops around Maleny include Crystal Waters Permaculture Village, Manduka Community Settlement Co-op, Prout Community Settlement Co-op and Cedarton Foresters. Crystal Waters is situated on 640 acres of land and was the first permaculture village in Australia. It incorporates 83 private residential lots, a village commercial centre, a visitors' accommodation area and over 500 acres of common land. Manduka is situated on over 180 acres of land, 6 kilometres from Maleny. It is home to 18 adults and 6 children. The residents believe in living simply, sharing resources, reaching agreement through consensus, and managing their land in an ecologically sustainable way. Prout Community is situated on over 50 acres of land and is home to 3 families, and a primary school run by the Anandamaga spiritual movement. The Anandamaga River School has over 100 students, ranging from kindergarten to grade 7. It employs 7 full-time and 8 part-time teachers and 2 administrators. The curriculum emphasizes experiential and whole-brain learning, creativity, ecology, arts and music, all with a child-centered approach. The system is based on a spiritual concept called neo-humanism. Cedarton Foresters is situated on 200 acres of land, 19 kilometres from Maleny. It contains 22 private residential lots and is home to 40 people. The community's main aim is the rehabilitation of the land. Although Barubin Bush Magic is part of the Cedarton Foresters, It's structured as an independently registered environmental cooperative.
I'm the director of the Maleny Co-Housing Support Cooperative, which is a group that's looking at models of both low-cost and sustainable housing here in Maleny. And at the moment we're looking at two different models. One is buying land that's already zoned for subdivision and making our mark on that, and the other is taking land that's not zoned and attempting to get a change in council's thinking to bring about the co-housing.
Community organisations that are not-for-profit, they can be incorporated as associations or even companies limited by guarantee, that work under cooperative principles and practices. They are also considered by us as community cooperative organisations.
Together with Jill Jordan, I was a coordinator of the Maleny Working Together project, a project auspiced by the Maleny Credit Union and conducted in Maleny during 2003. This study was an exhaustive research activity, both qualitative and quantitative, that assessed the needs of this community, developed a community audit, and identified a number of strategies that the people of this town, the people of this place want for their community. It was exhaustive because, apart from a number of different ways we looked at the data, we included people from all of the 4552 postcode, not just Maleny Township. We included people in Conondale, in Witter, and in all those hidden places. The benefits of this study, being as big as it was and having as much support as it did from people in this community, was that we were able to map a real picture of what people here wanted and how they saw their future, which became a very, very useful tool for all levels of government, federal, state and local, in terms of their planning for the future of this area. The benefits in turn for the people of this community were that they felt that they had been heard, that in terms of governance they had had their say, and that they had come together to give a real sense of empowered direction that they wanted for their community.
The Hinterland Business Centre is a not-for-profit community-based organisation which relies on funding from successful project and grant applications. This funding is supplemented by the Centre's growing commercial business enterprise development. The Centre's main focus is to support our community enterprise development. The organisation has been established as a small business incubator and training centre, and we're now currently in the process of developing the capacity of our tenants, the small business community and the wider community across the hinterland through leadership of skilling and training opportunities to further build capacity and sustainable future of our area.
In Maleny we have the Maleny Arts and Crafts Group, which is cooperative-like. There's nearly 250 members in that group, and they are a diverse range of artisans. There is also a retail cooperative called the Piece of Green in Maleny, and that's a shop with 16 artists who display their work in that shop. But at the moment I'm primarily involved in an organisation called the Collaboration of Maleny Artists. This is a volunteer-based organisation established to register and promote the professional interests and development of our diverse community of Maleny-based visual artists. And we do this by linking them with patrons, galleries, government agencies and the broader community. We've only been running for about 6 months now, and in those few months that we've been operating, we have already established a web page that can be accessed by both artists and patrons. We're also running workshops and schools using our more established artists as mentors and teachers. We're also planning a major arts festival that will be a concentration of cultural events involving local performing and visual artists. And we are promoting our artists through organising, curating local exhibitions. Already we are attracting government interest. We've just been given a government grant and we're quite excited that what we are creating here is a successful working model that could be used by other creative industries.
As far as Maple Street Co-op's concerned, we've just had Council approve some significant extensions which are going to mean a 50% growth in our space, and we're looking at developing the back part of our block. The club finally reached a financial crunch point in October 2005, and the opportunity was there for Maple Street Co-op in accordance with cooperative principles to help them out. What that meant was on the 1st of December 2005 we took them over in what's called technically a transfer of engagement. We looked at the structure, how they did things, and then put a fair bit of capital into that in terms of renovating the place, into new equipment, different ways of doing things, switching them to largely organic food as far as that's possible, and that appears to be working. There's been a significant turnaround. The club has got a much wider appeal to this community. It's not marginalised as I think it was before, and we can only look forward to what is ahead.
The Maleny experience shows that building successful cooperative enterprises involves several steps.
Establishment of a co-op is all about people with a vision getting together a feasibility study to decide whether the business will actually fulfil their needs, and then setting a business plan in place that has all the parameters that they need to run the business. A co-op is just like any other business, it has to be profitable and well managed. So in terms of management, you need to get a good management team in place, ongoing training, and keeping the staff and everybody actually committed to the project. One of the golden rules about establishing a co-op is trying to involve everybody in your community. There's lots of skills and talent out there, and these are all the things that you might need in running your co-op.
Cooperatives have to be able to innovate, and there are examples of this in Australia and overseas. It's not just a case of participatory decision making, it really has to be economically efficient and technologically innovative decision making, and that's not easy when you've got high levels of participation from everybody. How can you have participatory decision making that is so important to a cooperative and so important generally in our society without the squeaky wheels getting all the oil?
I consider Maleny to be in its second phase of cooperative development. Having developed organisations, cooperative organisations that span just about all the sectors of community activity, now it's not essential to develop more organisations, because we're finding that most of the projects that the community needs can be auspiced by one of the current cooperative organisations.
Women with Wings is a program designed to give women in particular the skills and confidence to take on their leadership positions. We designed the course, myself and with Jill's assistance, to cover the general aspects involved in being part of a community group, not-for-profit group in this community. We were fortunate, received funding from the Office of Women to run the first trial, and it's been a women course run and designed and presented by women to allow mentoring and networking to develop. Most of these women have the skills, and they just need the confidence and a bit of skill development in order for them to feel able to step up into leadership roles. Like all community groups, we're always looking for new people to take on roles, give new ideas, a bit of inspiration to those groups. And one of the hindrances to doing that is a perceived lack of ability to do so. So this course, Women with Wings, was specifically designed for community groups and developing leadership for women. Another really important aspect that I've been working on up here is to get a learning centre opening again in Maleny. Maleny has really poor public transport, and access and equity to training is just so important for the continued growth of the community up here.
Cooperative enterprises benefit a community in many ways. Socially, they bring people together encouraging them to use their diverse skills and talents, and often provide them with the opportunity to develop new capabilities. They create a sense of belonging, building close relationships among different types of people and empowering them to make decisions to develop their community. All this fosters community spirit. Working together, a community is able to accomplish much more than if the various individuals go their separate ways.
Co-ops are about cooperation, and we're not very good at that. So when it comes to working in a co-op and living as a co-op, then we have to go quite deeply into how we relate to people, how we can allow for differences, how we can come to as closely as possible to sort of consensual processes. I think the best way to learn really is to be a part of a co-op, be involved.
Another way to learn how to cooperate is to have regular training on how to learn to work together, how to make decisions that respect all points of view, but develop outcomes which are best for the cooperative's progress, and how to resolve conflict. We've always considered it extremely important that these training sessions are held regularly in Maleny.
Economically, cooperatives produce various types of goods locally, provide a range of local services, create employment, circulate money within the community, and make the community economically self-reliant. Because cooperative enterprises are owned by the members themselves, the profits they generate stay in the local area. Cooperatives thus build the wealth of the community. In essence, successful cooperative enterprises transform a community by establishing economic democracy.
In summary, they can contribute very positively to deliberative democracy, to political accountability, and to providing a very substantial and resilient counterpoint to globalisation.
I believe that cooperatives are a genuine, viable alternative to government and private industry. I think they're the way of the future.
Cooperative enterprise is the socio-economic system of the future. In Maleny, that future is unfolding before us, right now.
They do work, they can work. It has.
In 1984, some people in Maleny got together, 'cause they found they had a little bit of cash to spare. They didn't want to put it in the mainstream banks to be spent on bombs and bullets and tanks, propping up corrupt regimes or gambling on the price of stocks and shares. So they set up the Maleny Community Credit Union to lend to members for projects which everyone agreed were environmentally responsible, empowering to the individual, satisfying local need, not global monetary greed. For 15 years we've been building our community.